Madridistas, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new series on my channel as well. It's going to be a Q&A series. I don't have an official name for it yet, so if you guys have a name suggestion, let me know in the comments below. But I asked all of you from Twitter, from Instagram, and of course on YouTube as well to ask me a couple questions that you have right now for Real Madrid, future transfers I want to see, targets, questions regarding the team right now. I'm going to be answering all those questions here, so let's get started. Coming out with the first question today is from Nightmare. Nightmare asks, Dally, possible discussion regarding Carvajal's replacement. So, unfortunately, we all know that Dani Carvajal suffered not only a torn ACL, but other ligament damage as well in the last one. And this is just devastating news for this team. You know, Dani Carvajal, I believe he's either 32 or 33 years old. This might be ultimately the end of his Real Madrid career. And I hate saying it. I do. I'm just a realist because when you have an ACL injury, it usually takes, a year to actually fully recover from that. And then it usually takes another year where you actually look yourself. We look at Militao. When Militao came back last year, he looked pretty poor, right? He looked pretty poor. And so for Carvajal, what are we going to be doing at that right back situation? Well, right now, I think the obvious choice for everybody is Lucas Vazquez. Lucas Vazquez is an older player. He's been around the team. He's been around the Champions League. He's been around the La Liga titles. He's somebody who can come in and actually be a pretty good sub, right? I think he's actually pretty decent overall. He will come in. He's a lot better on the attack, and he's not as well-rounded as Dani Carvajal would be. However, he comes in. He can bang in some goals. He can get some assists as well, and he can draw some opportunities to actually win some penalties. We've seen it before from him. And so I think Lucas Vazquez is the obvious first choice. Now, you need backups, right? We have a couple other options there. Militao, we could stretch him out over to the right back situation. I guess my biggest issue with that, you are already asking so much from Rudiger and from Militao to come in here and play center back every single game. Militao's already had injury. He had the ACL last year. He's been banged up a little bit. He's even banged up right now as I'm speaking during international break as well. So is moving Militao over there the best? Probably not. Another situation that we could be seeing is possibly Fede Valverde dropping a little deeper, because if you think about Dani Carvajal and the setup that he will play, he helps out so much on the attack. This is also the same channel that Fede Valverde is playing in, right? Fede Valverde does like to go more central. Maybe you can have the benefits of having Fede Valverde being such a beast that he is on the defensive end, that he could really help there. And he could also help on the attack and stay wide and create that width. He's played right wing. I remember in the game against Liverpool in the Champions League final, he would play there a lot that season. Gets the assist to Vinny, which I think was a shot from him ultimately. But that's a possibility. And then what you could do is you could move Arda Güler to the right center mid, and then those two could be linking up. I guess another possibility, and probably the one I least like, is moving Arda Güler there, and maybe he's playing more of a right wing back situation as well. Defensively, I do not rate Arda Güler at all. And so when it comes to that, I don't really want to see that. I'd rather Arda Güler be more forward and you drop Fede Valverde deeper. But again, I do think Lucas Vazquez right now would be the ideal person to take that. However, transfer market, right? We have the January transfer market coming up. But the issue is Real Madrid, we do not attack the transfer market in the winter. And I think there's a couple things why we do not do that, right? First of all, when you look at Real Madrid and the targets that we actually go after and the signings that we do, these have been long-term targets for Real Madrid. This is not somebody that Florentino Perez woke up one day and said, "Ooh, I want him. We should go get him." That's not how it works. At Real Madrid, it's not how it works at all. You look at Tchouaméni, long we're pursuing him. Camavinga, long we're pursuing. Kylian Mbappe, forever we were pursuing him. Even Endrick. We bought Endrick 2 years ago, right? So this is going to be somebody that we've been watching. Well, there is a right back out there right now that would be free next summer that we've already been linked to. And of course, I'm talking about Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, what could happen, right? We've already been linked to him long-term now. I believe back in March, there's been a tweet from Fabrizio Romano saying Real Madrid's very interested in him and they're monitoring the situation there. The thing is, we're already linked to him for the possibility of him coming next summer. And the thing is, he is a Scouse, right? He's from Liverpool. He's grown up at Liverpool. I think what Trent wants, he wants to stay at Liverpool, right? However, I think what he desires most is the opportunity to win trophies. And I think the whole thing with Danny Carvajal, those two would probably be competing. Trent Alexander-Arnold could come in and be the starter day one for the squad. Couple things, though. You already have the target that we've been after him for a long time now, right? The fact that he is scouts, I don't really think he wants to leave Liverpool on a free. I think he'd feel kind of bad about that, right? There's a possibility that maybe Real Madrid goes to Liverpool and goes to Trent Alexander-Arnold and says, hey, you are doing the right thing for Liverpool because we are paying for you, where we could easily wait for you next summer, get you for free. You're doing the right thing. You are earning them $10, $20 million, 20 million euros, or pounds, whatever you want to call it. You're earning them 20 million pounds, right? And then you get to leave Liverpool where you don't feel like you left them high and dry and you kind of turned your back against them. And really, Liverpool, they can't take anything away from that because you're going to a better situation. They got their money for you, even though you could have left them free in the summer as well. So that would be the perfect situation, I think, for Real Madrid to replace Danny Carvajal at the right back situation. One of the things about Trent Alexander-Arnold I have had issues with, defensively, I do think he's a liability. It would be a completely different type of player compared to Danny Carvajal. I think Danny Carvajal was probably one of the most well-rounded right backs in the world. And really, we don't have a right back like that out there in the world right now that is not only just as good on defense as they are on the attack. And it would be a little different play style for us, but I do think Trent Alexander-Arnold could come in and be the best solution, not only for the situation now with Real Madrid, but moving forward as well. So, fantastic question, Nightmare. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the next one. Jackie asks, who do I want to sell the most? It's a great question. I think there's a couple different players that I don't really want to sell anybody on this team right now. I do think there's a couple areas that we could improve. Ferland Mendy is an option, right? Now, we did just extend him, so the likelihood of that happening, 0. I think there's probably 2 players that you could sell right now, maybe make 80 to 100 million. The first is Rodrigo. Do I want to sell Rodrigo? I don't at all. I just think that right now, him at right back situation, I don't know if that's something sustainable in the future and if that's something that he wants to continue doing. So I think you could turn around and sell him to a PSG, to a Bayern Munich, to a Man City, to Saudi. I don't think he'd go to Saudi, but one of those, elite teams outside of Spain that we would face, of course, in the Champions League, and he could move there and go play left wing. That would be an ideal situation for him if that's ultimately what he wants to do. If he wants to stay at Real Madrid, I would love to have him there. I think another thing to watch with him is how often is he playing? Are we going to be molding more to that 4-4-2? And then he's coming off the bench? That's not going to be a good situation for him. So that would be one. I think the player, though, that we could probably upgrade at, and you could really take those assets from the sale, would be Tchouaméni. Now, Tchouaméni, we just bought him a couple years ago, I believe from Monaco. Let me know if I'm wrong. I believe I'm right there. For around 80 million, right? I think a couple things. At CDM position, I think, as a lot of you would prefer Camavinga to be starting over Tchouaméni moving forward. I think that a couple things. Camavinga is a lot more versatile. He helps a lot more out on the attack. He could run around where, Tchouaméni, he's kind of a wall. I also think Tchouaméni, I do think he could be a good center back long term. It's just, is he going to want to develop into that? I don't think so. So that's why I do think that you could turn around and say, hey, PSG, do you guys want a really good French, CDM, something like that? Hey, Man City, hey, Liverpool, Liverpool's been linked with him before as well. Do you guys want him? And we could turn around and sell him for 100 million. And then we could reallocate some of those assets to another center back, to some of the money that we need for a left back, a right back, other positions moving forward as well. So that's somebody that I'm really interested in, and I could see us ultimately selling as well. The next question comes from Cardboard, who asks, if someone gave you an offer saying we'd win 2 La Ligas and 1 Champions League in the next 3 years, would you take it? Well, Cardboard, that's a really good question. Next 3 years, again, 2 La Ligas and 1 Champions League. I think yes. Based on coming into the season, I would say no. I think I'd be a little more greedy than I am being right now with just, the situation that we have with this team right now. I haven't seen a great team so far this season. Have we got results? Yeah, we have got some results so far that I have been happy with. And right now in the table, I think we only sit about 3 behind Barcelona right now. Our second though match against Lille, we dropped a point there. I guess you could say Bayern Munich dropped a point too. I think if you could guarantee me that we win 2 of the next 3 in La Liga, that's really good. That's really good, especially the way Barcelona's been playing so far. Do we win this one this year? Maybe not. So that's one. I also think, just winning 1 Champions League is hard enough, right? And winning 1 in the next 3, I'd probably take it. Coming into the season, I'd probably say greedy and say no. You'd have to guarantee me probably 2 Champions League, 2 La Ligas, and I would take it. But I think right now, the situation that we have, there's still a lot of unknowns, and there's a lot of injury concerns with this Real Madrid squad as well. So I do think, Cardboard, to answer the question, I do think I would take this offer up and guarantee us 2 La Liga titles and 1 Champions League title as well. So Madridistas, that was only part 1 of the video. Part 2 will be going up tomorrow. So if you're not subscribed, definitely hit that subscribe button right now and let me know in the comments, do you agree with me on some of my takes? Do you disagree with me? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And also, if you made it this far in the video, definitely hit that like button. Helps me out a ton and I would really appreciate it. Guys, I will see you in part 2. This has been Dally with Dallyfc. Cheers. Hala Madrid.